Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 68 of Let's Play SpellForce 3. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, shit has gone, shit has hit the fucking fan. So, we need to talk to Yira and Gore, so let's go talk to Gore.
Ah, Tahar. Never mind.
Something on your mind?
Well, maybe. Remember when you asked me about Rain? The other gifted shaman from my tribe.
Yeah? What about it?
I want to talk about it. I'm not supposed to, but I don't know. I trust you, Tahar, and I've kept silent about this for far too long. Zarek's fangs, this is so silly. I feel like a damn child.
I'm not forcing you.
Right. Where do I start? Before becoming a shaman, every disciple has to go through a trial. The Iron Trial, as it's called. I told you that I did most of my training in solitude, didn't I? That wasn't true. 5 years after I entered disciplehood, another orc was accepted by my elder. A female named Rain. She was 2 years younger than me.
I thought only male orcs can be gifted.
No. It's just that for female orcs, it's even rarer to have magic. Which is why there are close to no female shamans.
Huh. How did you get along?
Well, at first, I was a complete dick to her. I was jealous and feared for my position. However, she never took offense by it. She fired back at me when I got childish, but at the same time never lowered herself to my level. As the years went by, we became friends. And no, there was no courting or mating involved, if that's what you're thinking. She was more like a sister to me, and one who, unlike my true kin, understood me. Those years in the Orcish steppes, they were special. We spent days, weeks out in the wild, doing whatever our elder tasked us with. And though it was hard, there was beauty in that. We just had this connection between us, this trust.
Sounds like friendship to me.
Yeah, friendship. I never had a connection like that again, and I rarely talk about it. The one time I did, the orc I told it to laughed right in my face. He thought it was ludicrous, a male spending time with a female who wasn't his mate. He stopped laughing when I broke his nose.
But something happened, am I right?
Yeah, the trial did. The sacred test every disciple has to take before he or she can become a shaman. Our elder sent us both at the same time, which was unusual. But of course I was relieved. There was plenty of talk about the Iron Trial, and I was scared.
How did Rain feel about it?
Same as I. Believe me, Tahar, only a fool would have entered into the trial with a smug smile on his face. We knew what was ahead of us.
What did you know about the trial?
Rumors. Shamans are forbidden to talk about it. But it was known that only half of those who take it return at all.
So what happened?
Zarek's fangs. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I'm breaking my oath.
Don't do anything you'd regret later.
I won't. We weren't told much about the trial. Only that we'd have to venture to a cave, far up in Barga Gore. They also didn't tell us how to get there. Only that Zarek would guide us. And he did. After a week of traveling, we found it. It was a strange place, Tahar. I saw that right from the beginning. The entrance looked like a mouth, the rocks surrounding it like the bones of an old, forgotten beast, and the stalagmites like hundreds of teeth. But of course, we went in. We had to.
What did you find?
A giant hall. It was as mesmerizing as it was unsettling. There were murals and carvings all over the cave walls. Old glyphs that I'd never seen before.
Shaper glyphs, maybe.
No, not Shaper. They looked as if the Guardians themselves had carved them into the rock.
Interesting. What else was there?
Nothing. That's what baffled me. Apart from those murals, the hall was completely empty. And for some reason, the ground in that hall was completely smooth, like polished stone. There were braziers, one in each corner of the hall, and they were burning brightly. Rain was as confused as I was, but nonetheless, we entered the hall. And that's when the trouble began, because all of a sudden, the exit was gone. No magical noise, nothing. Just in that moment when we looked the wrong direction, it disappeared. And instead of it, we were looking at another wall.
How is that even possible? Maybe it was an illusion.
That was our first thought too, but it wasn't. That new wall was as solid as every other rock in that hall.
Strange. What did you do?
Well, after we calmed down a little, we assessed our situation. We figured that this was the Iron Trial, and that it was our task to find another exit. So we started looking. But it was pointless. There was nothing. We couldn't even hear the wind anymore. For the next 14 days, we were trapped. We couldn't make that wall disappear, and no matter how long we studied the glyphs, how long we prayed, nothing happened. On the 5th day, our provisions had come to an end, save for half a skin of water and a handful of jerky. On the 8th day, it was all gone.
Blazes. How did you survive?
I'm getting there. As you can imagine, the thirst was the worst. It drove us mad, and we searched every corner of that goddamn hall for just a drop of water. Not that we hadn't looked before, but as you know, hope dies last. Have you ever had thirst, Tahar? Real thirst?
Yes.
Then you know what it feels like. On the 11th day, Rain and I were puking our guts out. Our skin had literally started to crack, and I felt as if I was burning from within. On the 12th day, we were only an inch from death. That's when the dream came.
A dream?
Yes, a shared dream, almost like a vision. We were still in that hall, Rain and I, but we were out of our bodies, floating like spirits. At first I thought we had died, then I saw what was different. The floor was full of blood, and that blood was burning. The murals and glyphs had started moving, twisting, like shadows dancing on a wall. That's when I first understood what they were depicting. For some reason in the real world, I'd never been able to.
What did they depict?
It showed what was expected from us, what we had to do to get out. Sorry this isn't easy. I've dreamed about those weeks ever since. But telling someone, it feels bizarre.
If this is too hard for you, we can stop.
Nonsense. I started, so I might as well finish. Zarek demanded a fight. Either one of us died by the hands of the other, or we would die there together. The Iron Trial. We were never both meant to pass.
Truth be told, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have surprised me either. But for some reason, I don't know. He had known Tahar, our elder, our master. He had known that it would come to this. Yet he still decided to send the two of us out at once.
So you fought each other?
No. Trial or not, I would have rather died than done that. And that's precisely what I told Rain. A god that demands a man to kill his own sister is not a god that deserves worship by anyone. But Rain wouldn't have it. She claimed that if both of us died, both of our lives would be wasted for nothing. I got angry and asked her if she meant that she wanted to fight me. She said no.
I don't understand.
She wanted me to kill her. She told me that she was already too weak to make it down the mountain anyway, but that I could still make it. Believe me, Tahar, if there had been any strength left in me, I would have punched her just for suggesting it.
Did you ever consider sacrificing yourself?
No. I know it makes me sound like a coward, and maybe that was part of the reason why I didn't. But the sane part of my mind still believed that there had to be another way. That all this was just some cruel joke, and the cave we had found maybe wasn't Zarek's after all.
And yet, you're here.
I am. I should have known before she even did it. She always had to have it her way, no matter the price. It happened when I was asleep. She took my dagger from its sheath, put it into my hand, and drove it through her throat without hesitation. When I opened my eyes, her blood was already all over my face. And as if Zarek had been watching all along, the wall disappeared. No noise, just like that. The wind was back, and it was raining outside. The first time in months. I like to think that she saw it before she died.
Did you make the descent?
I did. There were berries in a mountain goat that had been hit by a rock slide, right next to the exit. It was so absurd I almost had to laugh. When I got back to the Elder's shack, I screamed at him, then broke down and started to cry. He just listened. In the end, he told me that we had both known what had been at stake. Yet we agreed. Choice and consequence. He made me a shaman the next day.
That's cruel.
Maybe. But without cruelty, there isn't life. Don't you too send brothers and sisters into battle, Tahar? Children, fathers. You do it because ultimately, you believe the outcome will lead to a world more desirable. It was the same with Rain and me. We wanted to be shamans, Zarek's chosen, and we both paid the price.
Do you blame yourself sometimes?
Of course I do. But ultimately, it was her choice, and all I can do to honor her now is to respect it.
I see.
There's one more thing. Remember when you asked me why I feel the way I do about our culture? Why I think we orcs should strive for more? It's Rain who made me realize that. Most orcs would have fought each other in that cave, to the death. But she didn't. Instead of submitting to her primal instincts, she made a sacrifice. One that I could have made too, if I hadn't been such a coward. Blazes, it feels strange to have told you all this. But, I don't regret it.
Well, thanks for trusting me with this, Gore.
Let me have some time for myself right now, all right? I need to think.
Okay, 1 minute. Oh, I do have Iskrim's Bastion. Oh. I always thought we hadn't finished the Iskrim conversation, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I was...
Yes.
That's why I was pissing about the majority of that. Let's go talk to Yira. Because she's the next one. And we're going to get all these conversations done. Because I want all of the badass abilities. Even if I don't like them that good. Much. She has 2 attribute points. So I can give her the best healing. And then I can give her this.
Now would you look at that?
Ah, I was hoping you'd come by. That was quite the surprise visit, wasn't it? The Harbinger couldn't have picked a better time for his attack.
I guess you could say that. How's your injury? That blast from the barrier looked quite painful.
The blast? Oh yeah, sure. I'm as good as new. One of the perks of being a light mage. Tahar, I'm sorry. For everything.
What do you mean?
Well, what you discovered in that dungeon. I didn't see that coming, honestly. I mean, I'd always felt you were different, but an experiment of your father? I would have never guessed. And now that bastard Lacaine took your mother. It's just, one tragedy follows another. Now I feel almost ridiculous thinking about my supposed problems.
We can still save her.
Yeah, I know. And we will. Blazes. How crazy does that all sound? A half-shaper whose mother's spirit has been stolen by a religious fanatic. If all this weren't actually happening, I'd think I'd be watching a bad play. Though you'd definitely be the tragic hero in this, and I don't envy you.
Problems are always subjective.
I guess they are. Tell me, Tahar, if you had had the choice, would you have wanted to know? About your mother and how you were born?
Well, what about you? Your father also never told you who your mother was. Would you want to find out?
Good question. On the one hand, yes, I think I would. But then again, I never made any serious efforts to find out. I guess in the end it wouldn't have really mattered. She is dead, I know that much. And whether she was a priestess of the White Tree or a slum dweller, it wouldn't have changed the fact that she wasn't there when I grew up. But you're a different story. Your mother is still alive. And she's a shaper. I mean, doesn't that change everything? Would you really have wanted to know?
Yes. It's always better to know the truth.
Is it? Sometimes I wonder if the truth doesn't just make it all worse. Anyway, shaper or not, it's good to have you back. Honestly, there were times when I was worried you wouldn't ever wake up again.
I'm touched.
You better be. Anyway, in case you were wondering, I'm not planning to leave now. If you need my help, I'll be here.
You don't need to stay. You know that, right? Our work with the Purity is over, and nothing's stopping you from going back on the road.
Safer than mage-murdering Lightbringers, right? Look, unless you want me to leave, I'll stay, and I'll fight. And no, I'm not trying to sound heroic. Apart from the fact that there's worse company than you, the dwarf, and the others we picked up along the way, I can't just stand by and watch while those bloody fanatics do their best to plunge this world into yet another war.
Good. I need to know who I can count on if we want to win this war.
Well, now you do. And now that we've got that out of the way, you should get some more sleep. You still look like a walking corpse. Don't make a habit out of it. I'll talk to you later. Tahar? I guess I still owe you an explanation, don't I? About that bandit in Farland's Hope?
Do you?
I do. First off, I appreciate that you didn't stop me. It was what most reasonable people would have done, I guess.
He deserved it.
Yeah, he did. About 5 years ago, something happened. I was on the road and the sun had just started to set, and I was closing in on the village where I had planned to spend the night. It was a beautiful day, really. The sky was clear, the stars were coming out, and the crickets were chirping. Just 1 mile before the village gates, I saw a woman and her son. Or at least I thought he was. And they were surrounded by 2 men and a woman, who were pushing her around, tearing her clothes off. She was weeping, begging them for mercy, and her son, who probably didn't realize what was happening, was holding her leg and crying. That woman's screams were horrible. What I remember even more was the crying of that poor boy. They were the tears of a soul who, up to that point, had still thought life was all about beauty, about love, and who had now awoken to reality. Long story short, I didn't help. I just stood there, watching it all through the thickets, like some grotesque play. When they were done, they kicked the woman into a pit on the roadside and took the boy with them.
Why didn't you help?
I've been asking myself the same thing ever since. In the end, I think it was plain cowardice. Then again, if life taught me something, then it's that only in the books that people make the right calls when push comes to shove. Sure, there are exceptions, but most of us just stand by and watch.
And that was why you tortured the bandit?
I guess. That woman the bandit in Farland's Hope killed. I don't know, but something about her reminded me of that summer night. And yeah, I know, it was a stupid thing to do. Stupid and above all, pointless. Making that bandit suffer didn't help anyone. Neither the woman he had tortured to death, nor the one on the road, or her little boy. I just couldn't help it. It was as if some dark part of my mind had taken over.
Maybe it was your way of atoning for not helping that woman.
Atoning? Such a big word. I don't know. Either way, anything else you need? If not, I'd like to have some time on my own. There's a lot that's been going through my mind lately. Corporal? Need anything?
Goodbye.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, in the next part, we'll continue having conversations, because apparently we're not fucking done with them yet. I'll see you guys then.